Many tablets are being released with an official keyboard cover these days, and no wonder, because they can be great secondary devices to work with, either on a plane, on a train, in a coffee shop, or even on your sofa. And some of them even can replace a laptop or even a full desktop PC. Now, I'm Andrzej from mynexttablet.com, and I've reviewed almost all tablets that have been released since 2008, and that includes tablets with a keyboard cover. And that's what this video is about the best tablets that you can get right now with a good keyboard. Before we get into it, check out the link in the description. There I've got a link to the text version of this video, which will always be up to date, even if you watch this video a year or 2 years from now. And there you will also see links to all the individual reviews of all the tablets I will mention today. And there you will also find data about the benchmarks, battery life, prices of course, and you can just check out each tablet in more detail if you want to. And let's start with number 8 on this list, which is the Lenovo Tab P11 Gen 2. That's the newest tablet that I'm still in the process of reviewing. I'm pretty much done with my review now, but I still have to write the review. And it's a very nice entry-level tablet. In fact, it's one of the cheapest tablets with a keyboard cover that I can really recommend. There are cheaper tablets which sometimes can have a keyboard, but I can't recommend them. So don't go for anything much cheaper than the Lenovo Tab P11 Gen 2 here. Here we're getting an 11.5-inch LCD screen with a Full HD resolution, and it has a refresh rate of 120 Hz, which is very nice. It has a decent performance, like lower end to mid-range, and you can play many games with low to medium graphics. It's running Android 12L, which is very nice because it means you get the taskbar at the bottom. You can still activate a productivity mode, but I don't really like that productivity mode on this model, so I don't suggest you turn it on. You can get it with an official keyboard cover that costs a bit under $100 US, at least usually, and it's a very nice cover, and it's a little bit unique. What's not unique is that you can detach it. Most of the tablets on this list have a detachable magnetic keyboard, which is quite nice. And actually, this keyboard is quite nice. I already had a long train ride from Berlin to Warsaw, and that took about 6 hours, and most of the time I worked with this tablet, and the keyboard is pretty nice for it. It's a decent keyboard on an 11-inch screen. It has a fine touchpad. It's overall fine. It's a good keyboard you can get some work done with. Now, most of the devices on this list also have a back cover, which includes a kickstand so that you can use it without the keyboard. For instance, if you want to watch a movie on Netflix or whatever, then you can use the kickstand. But what's special about this tablet is that the back cover protects also the sides. It's a full cover. Most of the covers you will see only protect the back of the tablet, which means that you can get scratches very easily on the sides of the tablet, but that's not the case here. A downside is that makes it a little bit thicker. So if you hold it, it's not the thinnest tablet. The tablet is thin, but including the cover, it does not look and feel like the thinnest tablet. It's more like it feels a little bit like a tablet for kids. It's not specifically made for kids. I'm an adult and adults can use it, of course, but just the feel of it, that's one of the downsides. But the positive side, of course, is that the tablet is fully protected. And yeah, it has a great keyboard. Now you can also use it with the Lenovo Precision Pen 2, and that one is okay, but I can't really recommend this if you want a tablet with an amazing pen. It's a great, cheap tablet with a good keyboard cover, but the pen is only okay. And number 7 on this list is also a lower and mid-range tablet, and that is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 FE. It's a couple of years old now, but it's still a very interesting tablet because it's 12.4 inches, quite affordable, and you can get it with the same keyboard covers as for the Galaxy Tab S8 Plus, which is a much pricier premium tablet. On the Galaxy Tab S7 FE, we're getting a 12.4-inch LCD screen, which is a standard LCD screen with 60 Hz. And what's really nice here is that the S Pen stylus is included and works almost the same as on the much pricier Galaxy Tab S8 Plus. So this is also a great tablet if you want a great pen. Now, it's a mid-range tablet, and that means that games usually you will have to play with low to medium settings. Usually you will not be able to set them to the highest, especially not with Fortnite or PUBG Mobile. It's running up-to-date Android, including the Samsung DeX desktop mode, which is quite nice, especially when you want to use this tablet with a mouse and keyboard. Samsung DeX is quite nice, especially for a secondary device like I would suggest this one. I would not replace a full laptop or desktop PC with the Galaxy Tab S7 FE. Now you can get two kinds of keyboards for the S7 FE. One is something I would call a traditional keyboard cover, because it's mostly a cover, but it also has an integrated keyboard, and the keyboard is good. It's a good keyboard to work with, but I just wouldn't work with it for like 8 hours every day or so. You can get a second keyboard that has a touchpad, and that's a little bit better, and that one is just a little bit more expensive, but also overall a little bit better keyboard, a bit more heavier. While the one I have right now is standard keyboard cover. The other one is more similar to a keyboard dock. You know, it always depends how you call something. But the nice thing is that you have two options with the Galaxy Tab S7 FE. And overall, it's a good, quite affordable, big tablet with a keyboard cover. Next on this list is a bit higher end mid-range tablet, which gets a bit more expensive, especially when you include the keyboard, and that is the Apple iPad 10. It's relatively new, of course. I'm sure you've heard about it already. Now, the iPad 10 is the cheaper version of the iPad Air, obviously, and the successor to the iPad 9. Here we're getting a 10.9-inch LCD screen that is very bright at 500 nits, but it's a 60 Hz screen, and it supports the Apple Pencil 1, which is a nice pen, and it does work fine, but only with an adapter, which is a bit funny and not the best. That we have to use adapter is not the best. What's also not the best is that the screen is not fully laminated. That means there's a little air gap between the IPS panel and the touchscreen layer above. So it's not ideal if you want to use it very precisely with a pen. Now, this iPad 10 is more powerful than every Android tablet on this list, and you can play games with highest graphics settings. Overall, the performance of the iPad 10 is really good. It's a very fast tablet, even though it is much more cheaper than the iPad Pro, for instance. Now, it's running iPadOS, of course, the same operating system that's running on all the other iPads, which is nice. It always gets a little bit better. iOS supports a keyboard and a mouse pretty well now. The keyboard really good, the mouse medium well, but certainly mouses work very nice. And the iPad 10 you can get with the new keyboard that Apple calls Magic Keyboard Folio. And this is a very similar design we will see with other tablets, although with this design Apple is a bit late to the game. We've got a magnetic detachable keyboard again. The keyboard is pretty good, especially if you want to use this as a secondary small device. Good keyboard, good touchpad, works really well. It's also well made. It's very expensive, by the way, but it's really well made. And then we get a back cover that connects magnetically again. Here, unlike the Lenovo, which was 8th on this list, the sides are open. So if you put it on the table like by accident, more like harder than you want to, then sometimes you might see scratches with this kind of design. So keep that in mind, but you can still use it without the keyboard as a kickstand, and you can watch YouTube or whatever you want without having to attach the keyboard, which is really nice. And then you attach the keyboard, and if you connect everything, fold it up, then the screen and the back of the tablet are protected. So the iPad 10 is a really good secondary device, also very fast, very powerful, so you can do a lot of multitasking with this. It's a nice secondary work device. Number 5 is the Lenovo Tab P11 Pro Gen 2, which is the premium brother to the P11 that I already mentioned. Here we're getting a really nice 11.2-inch OLED display that looks really nice. It's 600 nits bright and supports 120 Hz, which is very nice. Now, unlike the normal P11 Gen 2, the Pro supports the Precision Pen 3, which is a good pen. So the P11 Pro Gen 2 you can also use very well with an active stylus. The performance is in the upper mid-range class here. You can play most games with medium to high graphics settings, sometimes not the highest, but medium in general, yes. It's running Android 12 and will be updated until Android 14. And here you can use a productivity mode, which works quite nice with the keyboard cover that you can get optionally. Now, the keyboard cover for the P11 Pro Gen 2 is a really good one. The design is very similar to the iPad 10 that we just looked like. You have a back cover with an integrated kickstand and then a good keyboard with a good touchpad. It's also very similar to the Galaxy Tab S8 design. So the P11 Pro Gen 2 is a great upper mid-range tablet running Android that you can also get with a good keyboard. Number 4 on the list, and we're getting pricier and pricier, is the Apple iPad Air. That is this one. It works with the same keyboards that you can get with the 11-inch iPad Pro. Now, the iPad Air has a 10.9-inch LCD screen with 60 Hz. It's 500 nits bright. And unlike the iPad 10, the iPad Air screen is fully laminated and it supports the Apple Pencil 2. So this one is much better suited if you also want to use a great active stylus. Inside the iPad Air runs the Apple M1 chipset, which makes it more powerful than all Android tablets and also more powerful than the iPad 10, of course. It's running iPad OS, which is the same operating system as on the iPad 10 and iPad Pro. This one supports the new Stage Manager, and overall it's very well suited, similar to the iPad 10, for using with the keyboard and mouse, very similar to the iPad 10 since the software is almost the same. Now, the nice thing about the M1, of course, is that you can install very professional apps and also use them very fast for like photo editing, even video editing, and obviously also for office work. Now, with the iPad Air, I would not replace a full laptop, but I would use it, and I did use it, as a great secondary device to get some work done with. You can get it with two kinds of keyboard covers. One is more of a traditional cover that I also showed with the Galaxy Tab S7 FE. That's more of a cover. And then also you can get the Apple Magic Keyboard, which I have here now, which is more pricey, but a really nice keyboard cover. Now, this is the oldest keyboard I think I have among these, because I used it probably since the first 11-inch iPad Pro. And it's a nice Apple Magic Keyboard. Very expensive, but a nice one. It has a nice design where it looks like the tablet is floating a bit above the keyboard. The keyboard is a great one. We get another USB-C port, which is also great. The touchpad is fine as well. It's a bit heavy, and it has another downside, which is that you can only use the keyboard and the stand together. I like the separate design we get with some other tablets, but here you cannot use the stand separate from the keyboard. It belongs together like this, and it's also, like I said, quite heavy. But it works really well if you want to get some work done on a plane or on a train or so. Next up is the best Android tablet you can buy right now, and that are actually three: the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8, S8 Plus, and S8 Ultra. I've got the Galaxy Tab S8 here and also the S8 Plus. Now, with the S8 Plus, you can use the same keyboards that I already talked about for the S7 FE. There are two kinds you can use with it. The same goes for the S8. Now we will look a little bit closer on the S8, because here I've got the keyboard that's more of a keyboard dock, at least a little bit. Sometimes I'm not sure how I should differentiate between the different kinds of keyboards you can get for these tablets. Well, the Galaxy Tab S8, S8 Plus, and S8 Ultra, you can get them with an 11-inch, 12.4-inch, or 14.6-inch screen. The smallest one is an LCD, and all the other ones are really nice AMOLED displays. All of them are at least 500 nits bright and support 120 Hz, and all of them come with the S Pen included, which works really, really well. So these are also great tablets if you want to use an active pen, which already is included. Now, they are the fastest Android tablets you can buy right now. You can play all the Android games with highest graphics settings, and that includes Fortnite and PUBG Mobile and games like these, but they are slower than the iPad Air, iPad 10, and iPad Pro. That needs to be said. They are running up-to-date Android, and Samsung is really good with updates for the Galaxy Tab S tablets. These tablets support the Samsung DeX desktop mode, which is a pretty nice desktop interface for Android and works quite well. There are also lots of features for the S Pen pre-installed. Overall, the software is really good on the Galaxy Tab S tablets. And like I said, you can get them with two kinds of keyboards. Here I've got the more professional keyboard for the Galaxy Tab S8, which has the same design we've seen already. We are getting a keyboard that's detachable magnetically. It's a nice keyboard with a nice touchpad, and I already worked with this for the S7 and also the S8 with those two tablets for quite a bit. So it's a really nice keyboard to work with. The touchpad is also pretty good, especially if you use Samsung DeX. And then we're getting this back cover again with a magnetic kickstand. And the kickstand is nice if you want to watch a movie or something. You don't have to have the keyboard attached. There's also a bit protection for the S Pen when you need to charge the S Pen. And it's quite premium feeling, snaps together well, folded up, it protects the screen. So this is a really nice Android tablet with a keyboard. Like I said, 3 Android tablets, the S8, S8 Plus, and S8 Ultra. Now, second on this list, not first, second is the Apple iPad Pro, which you can get with an 11-inch and 12.9-inch display. I'm holding up the 12.9-inch version here at the moment. They are the fastest tablets you can buy right now, really good tablets, and in most of my buying guides, they are number 1. But not this one. Here they are number 2. Now with the 11 and 12.9-inch iPad Pro, we're getting either a very nice LCD or a very nice XDR display. Both are at least 600 nits bright, support 120 Hz, and both support the Apple Pencil 2, including the very new hover feature, which is very nice. So they are also great tablets if you want to work with an active stylus. Now they're running the Apple M2 chipset, which makes them faster than all tablets on this list and all tablets currently available. The M2 chipset is really, really fast. You cannot even use all of its power. You can play all games with highest graphic settings. You can edit videos with it, edit photos with it. And it's a really, really nice performance we're getting with the iPad Pro. Now they are running iPad OS, the same operating system I talked about with the other iPads, including the new Stage Manager, which works well on here. You can install Photoshop, almost desktop-like Photoshop. You can install Photoshop alternatives like Affinity Photo. You can install video editing apps like LumaFusion. They work really well with here. And also they work quite well with the mouse and keyboard. Like I said, iPadOS is getting better and better to use with the keyboard. Now you can use two kinds of keyboard covers for this. One is a keyboard cover, similar to the Galaxy Tab S7 FE cover. And then we've got the Apple Magic keyboard. Here I've got the white version for the 12.9-inch one, which is really expensive. All of these are very expensive, so that's certainly a downside of the iPad Pro. And the keyboard is a nice one. With the 12.9-inch version, it's quite big. We've got a nice touchpad, and again, this floating design. There's a USB-C port. Overall, it's a really nice keyboard. Now, I cannot really recommend this as a replacement for a really good laptop or desktop PC. I tried that a couple of months ago. I took it on a trip for several weeks, just this iPad Pro, this exact version here, and I wanted to replace my laptop with it. I still wanted to get some work done while traveling, and it was complicated. Many things can be done with an iPad Pro, but usually there are some small things that cannot be done with iPadOS. It's just too much of a hassle sometimes. Just sometimes small things, like if you need to convert from one file to another file and so on. It just works better on Windows or macOS. But it can be, for some, probably a good laptop replacement, and certainly it is an amazing secondary device. I really like to use the iPad Pro, especially the 12.9-inch version, but like I said, I would not replace my laptop with it. I tried, but I can't, even though I love tablets and I really like the iPad Pro series. It's a great, very expensive secondary device if you're looking for a tablet with a keyboard. Now, the following tablet is almost never on number 1 when I talk about tablets, when I do these kind of buying guides, But when we talk about a keyboard, then it has to be number 1, and that is the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. This basically is a tablet and a laptop in one device. This can replace a desktop PC and it can replace a premium laptop. It's a Windows tablet with a great keyboard. Now here we're getting a 13-inch, very nice 13-inch Pixel Sense display, so it supports 120 Hz. It supports the Microsoft Slim Pen 2, which is a great stylus that's very similar to the Apple Pencil 2 or the S Pen from Samsung. Now here you can get versions with an Intel Core i5 or Core i7 processor, which are the same chipsets that you can get in premium Windows laptops. You can get lots of RAM, lots of storage, and if you want to get a lot of high-end work done, then I suggest you to get the Core i7 with lots of RAM and lots of storage, especially if you want to edit photos and videos with it, which is possible with the Surface Pro 9, but it gets expensive just like with the iPad Pro. Now, the Surface Pro 9 is running Windows 11, and that means you can use all the standard Windows apps that you've been using for 10 or 20 years or so. That not only includes Microsoft Office, but also drivers for some accessories you might be using or some piece of hardware that needs Windows drivers that don't run on Android or iPadOS. So for this, the Microsoft Surface Pro 9 is really nice. It's a great office tablet. I wouldn't get it as a gaming tablet, but it's a great office tablet if you want to get some serious work done with the keyboard. I wrote at least 10,000 words with this keyboard already, if not more, because I've been carrying the Surface Pro 9 around me quite a bit. It can replace a laptop. Now, this is the keyboard cover you can get for it. It has a really nice keyboard, works very well. It has a pretty large touchpad, not as large as some premium laptops, but pretty large, and it connects magnetically. Now, here there's no kickstand included with the cover because the Surface has a kickstand built in already. So this is, in my opinion, the best tablet with a keyboard if you want to get some serious work done with it. Now we're not at the end of this list because I've got a bonus for you, which is kind of a secret tip because almost nobody is talking about it, and that is the Lenovo Duet 3 Chromebook. A Chrome OS tablet that is very affordable and comes with a keyboard. The keyboard is included, you don't have to buy it separately, which makes it a really great value and a nice deal, especially for students. Now, this is the Lenovo Duet 3 Chromebook. It has an 11-inch screen, it's a full HD screen, a decent one, not the best, but a decent one, and you can write on it with a USI 2 pen. But these USI 2 pens are not amazing, they are okay, but I would not recommend it if you want an amazing stylus. The performance is also okay, good, okay, decent. You can certainly use it for office work, multitasking works quite well, but it's not the highest end gaming machine. Games usually can be played with lowest to medium settings, but I just wouldn't get it as a gaming tablet because then you can get something with a little bit more performance, like an iPad 9 or something. But the performance is certainly great for office work. Now it's running Chrome OS, which is great because it's actually keyboard and mouse first and not touch first like iPadOS or Android. Just like Windows 11, this was developed with the keyboard and mouse in mind, which means you don't have to deal with some little quirks that usually iPadOS and Android have if you're using a mouse and keyboard. This works really, really well with a mouse and keyboard, and also with a touch screen on top, like Chrome and so on have touch versions that get activated if you remove the keyboard. The heart of Chrome OS is the Chrome browser, which is the same browser with the same desktop extensions you're using on Windows or Mac OS. So it's a really nice browser, and it will get updates until 2030. But if you want to use it as a tablet, don't worry, you can install touch Android apps using the Google Play Store, so you can pretty much also use it like a standard Android tablet. Now, like I said, the keyboard is included, so you don't have to buy it separately, and it's a pretty nice keyboard. It's a little bit cheaper built than the other keyboards on this list because this option is much, much cheaper, but it's still a decent sized keyboard with a decent touchpad, which works quite well. It's connected magnetically to the tablet, and it also has a back cover with a kickstand you can fold out if you want to watch YouTube or something like that. Now in this case, like I said, it's not as premium built. The keyboard cover is not as premium built as the other keyboards here. For example, I would not grab it very quickly. Like if you're at school, you want to put the tablet quickly in your bag, I wouldn't grab it by the kickstand because sometimes it can happen that it falls off. So the magnets are not as strong, but still the back like this is protected, and it's just a really great value, especially for students and also for everybody if you want to save a bit of money and just want a decent, small, cheap tablet to get some work done with. Like I said, I would not replace a full big desktop PC with it, but it's a great secondary device and also a good device for students. Now, like all these tablets, I obviously reviewed the Lenovo Duet 3 Chromebook. You can check it out here. And yeah, check it out because Chrome OS tablets can be really interesting for many. And like I said, the keyboard is included. So check out this review of the Lenovo Duet 3 Chromebook.